visited many of the most important temples in their kingdom, like Dangale, to be crowned ceremonially by Amun.
A mandatory and Natakamani approached the temple, Dangale, by boat, sailing up the Nile. And then they would have headed towards the main sanctuary.
The Amun temple complex would have appeared like a mirage on the horizon.
And then as you approached the temple, there would have been two massive doors blocking your entrance, hiding the secrets inside.
Led by the high priests, Queen Amanaturi and King Natakamani would enter the temple, followed by their courtiers, and proceed to the inner sanctuary.
They would lift incense up, and so the place would be smoky and smelling of frankincense. They would have made offerings to the god Amun. And then the priests of Amun, speaking for the god Amun, would have indicated who the successor, who the next king was going to be. And then the crowning would take place. The king is officially crowned by Amun. So presumably that would be by his representative, the high priest of Amun.
Though access to the inner sanctuaries was restricted to priests and royalty, other parts of the temple were open to pilgrims from more humble backgrounds.
We found a footprint inscribed in the paving stones of the first court. It's graffiti that's been left by a pilgrim who came to visit the temple. This would show the god and other pilgrims that this person had come to visit the temple. It's a very human thing. It's something that somebody actually came and did as an act of personal piety, as an act of faith. It's very easy to get stuck in the material and the columns and the paving stones. This is a nice reminder, because as an archaeologist it shows us that people actually visited the temple and they actually worshipped here, and it was part of their everyday life.
Families may have looked for solace in the temple, praying for the sick, mourning the dead. Others may have come to thank the gods for a new birth or a bountiful harvest. Those who wished to enter the temple complex passed first through a towering pylon gateway. Halfway down a paved avenue lined with rams, they would have enjoyed a brief respite from the sun beneath a shady kiosk. Ahead lay the great wooden doors of the temple. 2,000 years have passed, and inside the main sanctuary, a painted plaster wall has fallen to the ground. Archaeologist Caroline Rochelow, another member of the team, is trying to save what she can from the debris.
Now the colors are a little bit pale now, but it would have been really bright, bright colors all over. So quite a festive place indeed.
It's not surprising that the ancient Marawites craved color. The desert land was beige, the sky pale with heat and haze. Only the river offered a reprieve from the monotony.
The green of the agricultural land along the Nile is just beautiful.
Today, it's the same. The people of Dangale share their ancestors' need for color and their talent for using it to brighten their lives.
And when people color their houses, they carry the color back from the Nile up into the desert.
Though the painted walls from the temple collapsed into fragments, the pattern remains intact. Caroline has the delicate task of putting the pieces back together.
Actually, finding a fragment like this of a wall decoration is extremely rare. We're very, very lucky.
By extrapolating from the wall fragments, Caroline will help Julie recreate the startling beauty of the temple at the height of its glory.
The whole temple would have been painted. The columns would have been painted. The walls would have been painted. There would be color everywhere.
The base of the walls and columns in the outer sanctuary were encircled with figures of water-bearing happy gods. while images of the king and queen making offerings to Amun adorned the upper reaches of the chamber. Even statues of the gods would have been enlivened by color. Each day, the priests of Amun would attend to his countenance, applying a rim of black coal to enhance the ram's red-painted eyes. So far, the team has found no trace of these Amun statues they know should be somewhere inside the temple complex. But what they find in a new trench outside the main doorway leads Julie to believe the missing figures could have suffered the same fate as the altar from the inner sanctuary.
We have large clumps of broken, shattered statue here, but the statues have been smashed into many, many pieces. There's literally thousands and thousands of fragments here, many of which are completely undistinguishable.
After hours of digging, finally, a piece they recognize.
Oh.
It's the red-painted eye of a ram.
Hi. The eyes of the ram did look like this, so this does tell us that they were ram statues. And we were looking specifically for rams because that is the animal of the god Amun.
Unlike the ram statues at the Amun temple at Naga, which are still intact after all these years, their counterparts at Dangale have suffered a much harsher fate.
It looks like people basically went down the avenue purposefully, step by step, and went to each statue, pushed it over, smashed it, and then moved on to the next one.
Hard work. But the perpetrators didn't show up empty-handed.
Right within the temple, at the scene of the crime, we found this. And I had no idea what it was at first. It's burned on one side, it's a very heavy rock, and it fits nicely in my hand. And then we started looking at it a little bit more and realized that the striking surface is right here. It's a hammerstone. So we had this hypothesis that a rock such as this could have been easily used to break these pieces, the ram and the altar, into many, many small pieces.
With a similar tool, not an artifact, Julie will put her theory to the test on a large chunk of sandstone.
This is a type of sandstone that's like that used in the rams in front of the temple. So let's pretend that this is a ram that I've just pushed over. The pieces of rock are fragmenting into very sharp, small pieces. They look very